night, and it was like 10:30, 11. And so I saw the show. I'm like, okay, I don't understand politics, but let's see what this guy has. And he just put it in a way where it wasn't just informative, but I got a laugh out of it. It's funny, you take everything, people take politics way too seriously sometimes. And granted, some of these issues are very important. I'm not saying that I'm not making light of politics in that sense. I'm just saying that sometimes people are so serious about politics that they're confusing the average consumer on it. Jon Stewart bridged that gap and made a generation start to understand politics, get an entire perspective. Again, sometimes was it one-sided? Yes, I'm not disagreeing there. But he brought on guests that really were fantastic, and brings on celebrities just like a late night talk show essentially. So we talk politics and then bring on a guest, and I like that. I mean, the types of people that were on his show are now famous people. I mean, Stephen Colbert. He brought him in, and then Colbert had his own show, and now he has his own stuff on NBC now. Rob Corddry from Time Machine and Hot Tub Time Machine. Jason Jones, Steve Carell, and John Oliver, who now has his own show on HBO. 19 Emmys for The Daily Show as either a writer or producer. And a Best Comedy Album Grammy Award. Again, a lot of people recognize the success. And then when topics have to be serious, Jon Stewart's serious. The most recent one was the shooting in South Carolina. Sometimes there's no humor, and you have to be as honest to your viewer as possible, and Jon Stewart can do that. Like I said, for me, politics-wise, I'm not one that leans left. I'm not one that leans right. I'm right in the middle with the majority of America, I feel. I feel like, again, if you're so far right, you're nuts. If you're so far left, you're nuts. I think everybody has viewpoints that are somewhere in the middle. That's as far as I'm going to talk politics, really. But again, I'm happy. Again, it's been fun watching the show the last 8, 9, 10 years now. It's insane how time flies. I had a discussion with somebody last night, someone who I went to college with, and it's been 2 years since I saw this person. And I said, it's unbelievable how time flies. I said, older people have always said that time flies as you get older, and I didn't really believe that. I do now. And again, just to see the types of people now going through television and now finally wrapping up their wonderful careers on television. And Jon Stewart is no less. I put him up there with the best of the best. I put him up with Letterman. I put him up with, again, Carson has his own category, but I would say he's right below that, in my opinion. Again, do people think it, probably will people think that, is that absurd? Absolutely. Yeah, that's fine. But what Jon Stewart did for me, for politics-wise, again, he united an entire generation of people to understand what seems to be what was once a complex issue. Politics seemed so complex to me for a long time. Jon Stewart changed that. And for that, I'm thankful for that. Again, I don't talk politics, but if I do, I have a basic understanding of it at this point. Again, it's not as great as maybe other people, but for me, I'm satisfied with the progress I've made in that sense. So I'd say tune in on at 11 Eastern and 11 Pacific as well. So definitely check it out. So from good, we're going to go to the not so good. Justin Blackmon again, a report came out this week that he's going to be out of the league. Essentially, he's done. His former coach Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State said it was heartbreaking. And you bet you know what it is. When I read the article, I even forgot that he was in the league, to be completely honest with you. I did. 21 months he's been gone. A year and a half. Almost 2 years. Justin Blackmon, just to put this in perspective, his ceiling, and again, I posted this on social media a couple days ago, his ceiling, in terms of just a player, an NFL player, was as high or higher than Dez Bryant. Just think about that for a second. Dez Bryant, arguably the best wide receiver in the league right now. Justin Blackmon could have been on that same platform or higher than him. Looking back on his career, again, debatable really, if you call it that. It's just sad. And I hope that high school players and college players look at this and see how everything can go from you have it all to you have nothing. Like that. The fact that he was taken with a 5th overall pick in 2012. Again, the NFL's in a league where, again, offenses are more pass-based. But still, the fact that he was taken 5th overall is pretty impressive. But he hasn't practiced or played since week 8 of the 2013 season. He was suspended by the NFL for a 3rd violation of the NFL's substance abuse policy. Now, for him to get back on the field, he must apply for reinstatement and then go through a nearly 2-month vetting process. Now, of course, according to the attorney, Blackmon completed a voluntary drug rehab program in 2014. He was in court in late November and pleaded no contest for a misdemeanor marijuana possession. And now, it was reduced to a disorderly conduct, which he had to pay a fine for. It's ridiculous to me that a man of his talent, imagine how many players would kill to be in his position in terms of being an athlete like that, to being so gifted to make millions of dollars, make generational wealth. Essentially take care of his family for life. And for that just to be taken away in an instant. It puts you in perspective. And Sheldon Richardson as well, just going to talk about him for a second. He was arrested a couple weeks ago for, get this, going 143 miles an hour. Now, it's one thing for look, it's fine, he's living the fast life, that's fine. What upset me was the other 2 people that were in the car and a 12-year-old child in the car. That's fine if the adults, whatever. But the fact that there's a 12-year-old child involved in that, that's sickening. That's absolutely sickening. Now, for older people listening to the show, and I say older just because it goes back a little bit. Sheldon Richardson, his case similarly is to the one of Jerome Brown. Now, Jerome Brown was a really good athlete, a really good NFL player. Played defensive tackle for the Eagles. drafted ninth overall in 1987. Played at Miami, lived the fast life. He died at 27 following an automobile accident, which both he and his 13-year-old nephew were killed when Brown lost control of his car. Mike Golick of ESPN commented on this because Mike Golick was one of the pallbearers at Jerome Brown's funeral. And essentially called this sickening as well. NFL players and athletes in general, once you get to a certain level professionally, as I mentioned this previously, you feel that you're invincible. You feel that you're on top of the world. You feel that you know it all. And then something like this happens to a player like Jerome Brown. It gets taken away like that. And for Justin Blackmon, again, a player with so much potential, just taken away like that. In an instant. For Sheldon Richardson, he's very lucky at this point that he's not off the Jets at this point, if not dead. I'm just going to be honest. Very lucky. And again, I go back to the age of social media where now everything gets almost blown out of proportion in a sense. But for Sheldon Richardson, I hope he wakes up. And for Justin Blackmon, I hope that he wakes up as well. Because yeah, you both are talented. Again, you sacrificed a lot to get to where you are now. And a lot of people would love to be in that same situation. But after a certain point, you cut the drama out. You need to cut some certain things out of your life. Or certain people out of your life. And as hard as that it is to do, it's hard for the Jaguars to do that. They're going to have to cut Blackmon more than likely. They're going to have to cut their losses. And that's unfortunate. Because Blackmon could have been a great player. Again, Richardson, very lucky. I don't know what's going to happen with him. There's still updates on that situation. And now Richardson is charged with resisting arrest and multiple traffic violations. Again, he was clocked 3 times at going over 120 miles an hour, and then the highest being 143. Again, you live the fast life. But sometimes you just need to take a look back and slow it down. Sometimes you're in over your head. You make millions of dollars. Again, if I ever made $1 million, that'd be fantastic. I mean, again, in a span of a year. Oh, that'd be amazing. Are you kidding me? Could take care of student loans, buy a house, to take care of my parents' debt, whatever they have. That's wealth. And then, of course, again, NFL players, they blow it on things. Whatever. They can blow it on whatever they want. I'm not here to be a parent. I'm just saying, be grateful for what you have now. Because it could be gone tomorrow. And for the case of Justin Blackmon, I mean, it's sad. Again, the GM for the Jaguars says that he doesn't have a plan to cut him, but realistically, what else are they going to do? They can't do anything. Blackmon was probably going to be done. And at what? 25, 26 years old? Then what? Afterwards, a lot of things could happen. There are times in life where you have to admit that you were wrong. And sometimes your ego gets in the way of that. Justin Blackmon needs to, if he has any chance of getting back to the league at all,